The Silent Observer's research director Velman Keth adjusted his observation equipment as he watched the human vessel drift through the Kepler 186 system. The ship looked so primitive compared to Altarian technology that it almost seemed laughable. The humans had only achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago, while the Altarian Federation had been exploring the galaxy for over 2 millennia. From his hidden observation post built into the asteroid belt, Velman had been studying these curious beings called humans for the past 3 years. The Altarian High Council had decided to observe human expansion into space before making official contact. They wanted to understand what kind of species they were dealing with. The humans fascinated Velman in ways he had not expected. Unlike most species that achieved spaceflight, humans seemed to possess an unusual combination of curiosity and caution. They explored aggressively, but also prepared for the worst. Their ships carried both scientific equipment and weapons, as if they expected to find wonders and dangers in equal measure. The human vessel currently entering the system was called the TSV Discovery. Velman had been monitoring their communications for weeks as they approached. The ship contained a crew of 43 humans conducting what they called a deep space survey mission. They were looking for habitable worlds and signs of alien life. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded the Discovery. Velman had studied her personnel files that the humans transmitted between their ships. She was young for a human commander, only 35 years old, but she had earned her position through merit and skill. Her crew respected her, and she had successfully completed 12 previous exploration missions. The Discovery moved slowly through the system, its primitive sensors scanning each planet and moon. The humans had no idea that they were being watched by technology so advanced that it could monitor their heartbeats from millions of kilometers away. Velman found their ignorance both amusing and oddly endearing. Elder Counselor Disses materialized beside Velman as a holographic projection. The council leader had been following the Human Observation Project with great interest. His crystalline features showed the typical Altarian expression of calm superiority. "What have you learned about these humans today, Research Director?" Disses asked in their melodious language. Velman gestured toward the display showing the human ship. "They continue to surprise me, Elder. Their technology is crude, but they use it efficiently. They work well as a team, and they show remarkable adaptability when faced with unexpected situations. Do you still believe they pose no threat to our interests?" "None whatsoever. Their weapons are barely capable of damaging our oldest patrol ships. Their computers are centuries behind our most basic systems. They would be like children playing with toys if they ever encountered our military forces." Disses nodded slowly. "The Council is considering making contact within the next few years. We want to guide their development before they become a problem, for themselves or others." Velman was about to respond when his sensors detected something unexpected. 3 ships were approaching the human vessel at high speed. The newcomers were not using standard identification signals, and their approach vector suggested hostile intent. "Pirates," Velman muttered, recognizing the sensor signatures. The Kepler 186 system was supposed to be under Altarian protection, but corrupt officials sometimes allowed criminal organizations to operate in exchange for bribes. The lead pirate vessel opened communications with the Discovery. Velman listened to the transmission with growing concern. "Human ship, this is Captain Roxas of the free merchant vessel Starbreaker. You are trespassing in claimed territory. Surrender your ship and cargo, and we will allow your crew to leave." In light pods, Captain Vasquez responded with admirable courage. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Vasquez of the Terran survey ship Discovery. We are conducting peaceful exploration under the authority of the Terran Colonial Administration. We have no valuable cargo and pose no threat to anyone." Roxas laughed harshly. "Humans always lie about their cargo. We have reports that survey. Ships carry valuable scientific equipment and rare minerals. Surrender now, or we will take your ship by force." Velman watched with interest as the human ship began evasive maneuvers. The Discovery was not designed for combat, but Captain Vasquez was trying to buy time. She was probably hoping to escape to hyperspace before the pirates could disable her engines. The pirates opened fire with energy weapons that should have easily penetrated the Discovery's shields. Velman expected to see the human ship disabled within minutes. Instead, something remarkable happened. The Discovery's shields held against the pirate attack. Not only did they hold, but they seemed to be absorbing and redirecting the energy. The human ship's defensive systems were far more advanced than they appeared. "Impossible," Dices whispered. Their technology readings indicated primitive deflector shields. How are they surviving that bombardment? Velman studied his instruments carefully. Their shields are not what they seem. The humans are using some kind of adaptive defense system. It is learning from each attack and adjusting its protective frequencies. The Discovery suddenly changed course and accelerated toward the pirates. Captain Vasquez had decided to fight back. Hidden weapon ports opened along the human ship's hull, revealing advanced plasma cannons that had been disguised as sensor arrays. The first pirate ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The second tried to retreat, but the Discovery's weapons tracked it perfectly. The third pirate vessel attempted to ram the human ship, but the Discovery's shields held firm while return fire tore the attacker apart in less than 10 minutes. The human ship had destroyed 3 pirate vessels that should have been superior to it in every way. Captain Vasquez had not only survived an ambush, but had won a decisive victory. Elder Counselor Velman said slowly, "I think we may have made some serious miscalculations about human capabilities." Dices was staring at the display with obvious shock. How did they hide such advanced technology? Our sensors showed them using primitive systems. Perhaps humans are better at deception than we realized, or perhaps their technology works in ways we do not understand. Captain Vasquez was transmitting on emergency frequencies now. "This is Captain Vasquez to any vessels in the area. We have encountered hostile forces in the Kepler 186 system. We have neutralized the immediate threat, but we are requesting assistance from any Terran ships in the region." Velman's blood ran cold as he detected the response. A massive energy signature was approaching the system through hyperspace. The readings were unlike anything in the Altarian database. "Elder Counselor, something is coming. Something very large." The hyperspace distortion grew stronger by the minute. Whatever was approaching had far more power than any ship the Altarians had ever encountered. The energy readings suggested a vessel at least 5 kilometers long, with power systems that defied conventional understanding. "Should we reveal ourselves?" Dices asked nervously. "If the humans have more advanced technology than we thought, we may need to reconsider our approach." Velman studied the approaching signature. "Not yet. Let us see what happens when their reinforcements arrive. We may learn more about human capabilities by remaining hidden." The Discovery was conducting damage assessment and collecting debris from the destroyed pirate ships. Captain Vasquez seemed calm despite the recent battle, issuing orders to her crew with professional efficiency. The humans were clearly experienced with combat situations. "Captain," came a voice over the Discovery's communications, "we are detecting a large hyperspace signature approaching the system. ETA, approximately 2 hours. Vasquez smiled grimly. That will be the retribution. Admiral Thorne must have been closer than we thought. Velman felt a chill run through his crystalline body. The humans had named their approaching ship Retribution. That did not sound like a peaceful exploration vessel. The next 2 hours passed slowly. The Discovery continued its survey work as if nothing had happened, while the Altarian observers watched the approaching energy signature with growing apprehension. Whatever was coming was larger and more powerful than anything in the Altarian fleet. Finally, the moment arrived. Space twisted and distorted as the human ship dropped out of hyperspace. Velman's instruments went crazy trying to process what they were seeing. The TCS Retribution was a monster. It stretched over 6 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with weapons that made the Discovery's hidden armaments look like toys. The ship's hull was covered in armor that seemed to absorb sensor scans, making it difficult to get detailed. Readings by the ancient crystals, Dices breathed. What have we been watching all these years? Admiral Zara Thorne's voice filled the communication channels. Discovery, this is Admiral Thorne, aboard the TCS Retribution. Report your status. Admiral, this is Captain Vasquez. We encountered 3 pirate vessels and successfully neutralized them. No casualties on our side, minimal damage to ship systems. Understood. Captain, we detected the energy signatures of the battle from several light years away. Are you certain the pirates were acting alone? Velman noticed something in the Admiral's tone. The humans suspected that the pirates had been working with someone else. They were more perceptive than the Altarians had given them credit for. Asterisk. Unknown, Admiral. The pirates claimed we were trespassing in claimed territory, but we have no records of any legitimate claims to this system. Interesting. We will investigate further. Continue your survey work, Discovery. Retribution will provide escort until we determine the local situation. As the massive human warship took position near the Discovery, Velman realized that everything the Altarians thought they knew about humanity was wrong. These were not primitive explorers stumbling through the galaxy. They were a sophisticated, spacefaring civilization with advanced technology and powerful military forces. The question now was what would happen when the humans discovered they had been under observation for years. Velman suspected that Admiral Thorne and her crew would not be pleased to learn about the Altarian surveillance operation. Asterisk. When humanity showed its true power, Admiral Zara Thorne stood on the bridge of the TCS Retribution, studying the tactical displays with experienced eyes. The destruction of 3 pirate vessels in Altarian space was more than just a random attack. Someone had been allowing criminals to operate in this system, and she intended to find out who. The Retribution was one of the newest ships in the Terran colonial navy, equipped with technology that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. Its crew of 800 represented the best and brightest of humanity's space forces. They had been patrolling the frontier for 3 years, protecting human interests and making contact with alien civilizations. Captain Marcus Chen approached the Admiral's command station. He was her tactical officer and had served with her for 5 years. His experience in dealing with hostile alien forces had proven invaluable during their frontier patrols. Admiral, we have completed our analysis of the pirate wreckage. The ships were using modified Altarian weapons and shield systems. Someone with access to their technology was supplying these criminals. Thorne nodded grimly. The Altarians have been watching us for years, Marcus. Our intelligence services identified their observation posts months ago. They think we are primitive and harmless. Should we confront them directly? Not yet. Let us see how they react to our presence first. Sometimes it is better to let potential enemies reveal their intentions before showing our hand. Unknown to the Admiral, her words were being monitored by the hidden Altarian observation post. Velman and Elder Counselor Dissis were listening to every communication between the human ships. Their translation systems were having difficulty with some of the military terminology, but the meaning was clear enough. "They know we are here," Thysis said with obvious alarm. "How is that possible? Our stealth technology is centuries ahead of theirs." Velman studied his instruments again. Perhaps their sensor systems work differently than we assumed. Or perhaps they have allies we do not know about. The situation became more complicated when additional ships entered the system. A convoy of civilian vessels dropped out of hyperspace, carrying supplies for a new human colony. The convoy included 3 transport ships, 2 escort frigates, and a hospital ship. Admiral Thorne immediately moved to protect the convoy. "All civilian vessels, this is Admiral Thorne aboard the TCS Retribution. We have reports of pirate activity. In this system, please maintain close formation and follow our escort instructions." The convoy commander, Captain Sarah Mills, responded quickly. "Admiral, we copy your instructions. We have over 2,000 colonists aboard these transports. Can you guarantee their safety? We will do everything in our power to protect your people, Captain Mills. However, I recommend that you consider delaying your colonization efforts until we can secure this system." Before Captain Mills could respond, Velman's sensors detected new contacts approaching from the outer system. A fleet of 12 ships was moving toward the human convoy at high speed. These were not pirates. They were Altarian patrol vessels, but they were flying under false identification codes. Elder Counselor Velman said urgently, "Those are our own ships, but they are not following standard protocols. I think someone is planning to attack the human convoy and blame it on pirates." Thysis studied the tactical display with growing horror. "The corruption goes deeper than we thought. Some of our own people are involved in this conspiracy." The lead Altarian vessel, disguised as a merchant ship, opened communications with the human convoy. "Human vessels, you are entering restricted space. Alter course immediately or face the consequences." Admiral Thorne responded with ice in her voice. "Unknown vessels, this is Admiral Thorne of the Terran Colonial Navy. Identify yourselves properly and state your authority to restrict passage through this system. We are representatives of the local government. You have no authority here." The local government, according to our records, is the Altarian Federation. Are you claiming to represent them? There was a long pause. Then the disguised Altarian commander made a fatal mistake. "We represent the true interests of this region. Surrender your ships, and we will allow your people to leave safely." Admiral Thorne turned to her tactical officer. "Marcus, I want a full weapons analysis of those ships. They are trying to hide their true nature, but I want to know exactly what we are facing." "Already on it, Admiral. Their energy signatures match Altarian military vessels, but they are using outdated identification codes. These are either stolen ships or rogue forces." The disguised Altarian fleet opened fire on the human convoy. Their weapons were far more advanced than the pirates' equipment, and they expected to overwhelm the human defenses quickly. The convoy escorts moved to intercept, but 2 frigates could not hope to stop 12 advanced alien warships. That was when Admiral Thorne decided to show the watching galaxy what human military technology could really do. "All stations, battle. Alert. Target the attacking vessels. Authorization, Omega-7. Full Defensive Protocol. The TCS Retribution transformed from a peaceful exploration vessel into a weapon of war. Hidden armor plating slid into place, covering vulnerable areas. Weapon systems that had been disguised as sensor arrays powered up and locked onto targets. The ship's true nature was revealed in all its terrifying glory. Velman watched in amazement as the human warship's power readings increased by orders of magnitude. Elder Counselor, their ship is generating more energy than our entire fleet combined. How is that possible? The Retribution's first salvo destroyed 3 Altarian vessels instantly. The human weapons used some kind of exotic energy that passed through shields as if they were not there. The remaining attackers found themselves facing firepower that exceeded their worst nightmares. This is Admiral Thorn to all attacking vessels. You have fired on civilian ships under the protection of the Terran Colonial Navy. Surrender immediately, or we will destroy every one of your ships. The disguised Altarian commander was too shocked to respond coherently. Impossible. Your technology is primitive. Our intelligence reports said you were centuries behind us. Your intelligence was wrong. This is your final warning. Surrender now. 3 more Altarian ships tried to escape, but the Retribution's weapons tracked them across the system. The human warship's targeting systems were so advanced that they could predict enemy movements before the enemy pilots made them. The fleeing vessels were destroyed before they could reach hyperspace. The remaining 6 ships surrendered rather than face annihilation. Admiral Thorn ordered boarding parties to secure the vessels and arrest their crews. The entire battle had lasted less than 20 minutes, and the humans had not suffered a single casualty. Captain Mills, Admiral Thorn said over the communication channel, the immediate threat has been neutralized. You may proceed with your colonization mission. Admiral, how did you know those ships were hostile? They looked legitimate to us. Experience, Captain. When you have dealt with as many alien species as we have, you learn to read the signs. Not everyone who claims to be peaceful actually is. In the hidden observation post, Velman and Elder Counselor Disses were trying to process what they had witnessed. The humans had not only defeated an advanced alien fleet, but had done so with devastating efficiency. We have to contact the High Council immediately, Thesis said. Everything we thought we knew about humanity is wrong. They are not primitive explorers. They are a major military power. Velman was studying the energy readings from the human warship. Elder Counselor, I think they have been watching us as much as we have been watching them. Their technology is not just advanced, it is specifically designed to counter our defenses. What do you mean? Their weapons penetrated our shields without difficulty. Their sensors detected our stealth systems. Their tactics suggested they knew exactly what they were facing. The humans have been preparing for war with us. The communication system activated, and Admiral Thorn's voice filled the observation post. Altarian Observation Post Designation 77 Alpha. This is Admiral Thorn of the Terran Colonial Navy. We know you are there. We know you have been watching us. I think it is time we had a proper conversation. Velman and Thesis looked at each other in shock. The humans had not only detected their hidden base, but had identified its exact designation. Their intelligence capabilities were far beyond anything the Altarians had imagined. Elder Counselor Velman whispered, "What do we do now?" Thesis made a decision that would change the relationship between their species forever. We tell them the truth, all of it. And we hope they are as merciful as they are powerful. The first direct contact between humans and Altarians was about to begin. and it would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Thorne waited patiently for a response from the hidden observation post. She knew that the Altarians were debating their options, probably wondering how much the humans actually knew about their surveillance operation. The answer was everything. Human intelligence services had been tracking Altarian activities for years, building a complete picture of their society, technology, and military capabilities. The Terran Colonial Administration had decided to let the aliens continue their observations while preparing for the eventual confrontation. Finally, a new voice came over the communication channel. "Admiral Thorne, this is Elder Counselor Thesis of the Altarian Federation. We would like to discuss the situation." "I am listening, Elder Counselor." "We have been observing your species for scientific purposes. We meant no harm. We simply wanted to understand humanity before making official contact." "I understand, Elder Counselor. We have been doing the same thing. The difference is that we did not allow criminals to attack your people while we watched." There was a long pause. "You are referring to the pirate attacks. That was not authorized by our government. Some of our people have been acting without proper authority. We suspected as much. The question now is what we do about it. What do you propose, Admiral?" Thorne smiled. "How about we start with the truth, both sides? Complete honesty about our capabilities, our intentions, and our concerns. Then we can work together to build a relationship based on mutual respect rather than deception." And so began the first honest conversation between humanity and the Altarian Federation. It would lead to trade agreements, technology exchanges, and eventually a powerful alliance that would reshape the galaxy. The Altarians learned that humanity was not a primitive species stumbling through space, but a sophisticated civilization with advanced technology and strong military forces. The humans learned that the Altarians were not arrogant conquerors but curious scientists, who had let their assumptions cloud their judgment. Both species discovered that they had more in common than they had differences. They both valued knowledge, exploration, and the protection of innocent life. They both had made mistakes in their approach to first contact, but they were both willing to learn from those mistakes. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. Asterisk. The Watchers in the shadows. The red warning light pulsed silently in the observation deck of Lunar Station 7, hidden deep within the crater Tycho on the moon's far side. Captain Rebecca Torres pressed her palm against the cool metal surface of the console, watching the data stream across her screens. For 25 years, she had been monitoring the galaxy's greatest war from the shadows, and today brought news that would change everything. "Captain, we've got movement in the Proxima sector," called out Lieutenant Johnson from his station. "Zelnar battlecruisers, at least 15 ships. They're heading toward the Corvani supply routes." Rebecca nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the starlight filtering through the station's reinforced windows. The Zelnar Empire and the Corvani Federation had been tearing each other apart for a quarter-century, and Earth had watched every battle, recorded every weapon discharge, analyzed every tactical decision. While the galaxy burned, humanity had learned. Dr. Michael Chen approached her station, carrying a steaming cup of synthetic coffee. The xenobiologist looked exhausted, his usually neat black hair disheveled from another 16-hour shift in the analysis lab. "The latest battlefield recordings are ready for review," he said quietly. "The Corvani are using a new energy weapon. It's based on principles we've never seen before." "Show me," Rebecca ordered, transferring the data to the main display Holographic projection filled the center of the observation deck, showing a battle that had taken place 3 days ago near the Vega system. Corvini ships, sleek and predatory, engaged a Zelna fleet in a dance of destruction that had become all too familiar. But something was different this time. The Corvini vessels fired beams of pure white energy that seemed to ignore the shields entirely, cutting through their massive battle cruisers like a hot knife through butter. Plasma channeling through subspace, Dr. Chen explained. They're bypassing normal space-time to deliver the energy directly to the target. We've theorized about this technology for years, but they've actually built it. Rebecca studied the tactical display with growing concern. Each alien faction had been developing more devastating weapons as the war progressed. The Zelna had their gravity bombs that could crack a planet's crust. The Corvini had their phase missiles that could materialize inside an enemy ship's hull. And through it all, Earth had remained hidden, appearing to be nothing more than a primitive world with basic radio technology. "Any word from the Mars team?" she asked. "Colonel Martinez reports they're still working on the wreckage," Dr. Chen replied. "The Corvini scout ship that crashed in Valles Marineris 3 months ago is yielding some interesting results. Their computer systems are more advanced than we thought, but their security protocols are surprisingly primitive. The crash had been a gift from the universe. A lone Corvini scout, damaged in a skirmish with Zelna forces, had limped into the outer solar system before its engines failed. The ship had crashed on Mars, and within hours, a team of Earth's best scientists and engineers had been secretly dispatched to recover it. The official story was a geological survey mission. The reality was humanity's first chance to examine alien technology up close. "Captain Torres," came a voice from the communication station. "Priority message from Earth. Command, Admiral Harrison wants a full briefing in 1 hour." Rebecca sighed. Admiral David Harrison commanded Earth's most closely guarded secret, the Solar Defense Force, for 25 years. While the galaxy assumed Earth was defenseless, humanity had been building ships, weapons, and defensive systems that incorporated lessons learned from observing the galactic war. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt produced vessels that looked primitive from the outside but incorporated hybrid human-alien technology within. Weapon platforms disguised as mining equipment dotted the outer solar system, and throughout it all Earth's leaders had maintained the illusion that humanity was unaware of the greater galaxy. "Sir," Lieutenant Johnson called out, his voice tight with tension. "Long-range sensors are detecting something. Multiple contacts, bearing 27 Mark IV, just past the heliopause." Rebecca's blood ran cold. The heliopause was the boundary, where the solar wind met interstellar space. Nothing should be there except empty void. "How many contacts?" "At least 20 ships, sir. They're not broadcasting any identification, but the energy signatures match both Zelna and Corvini vessels." Dr. Chen moved to the sensor station, his fingers dancing across the controls. "Captain, these readings don't make sense. Why would both factions be traveling together? They've been trying to exterminate each other for decades." Rebecca stared at the display, her mind racing through possibilities. Then the terrible truth hit her. "They're not together," she said quietly. "They're hunting each other, and the chase has led them here." The implications were staggering. For the first time since the war began, major fleets from both factions were approaching Earth's solar system. If they fought here, the debris alone could devastate the inner planets. If they discovered Earth's hidden capabilities, the secret that had protected humanity for a quarter century would be exposed. "Get me Admiral Harrison immediately," Rebecca ordered, "and prepare a full tactical analysis. We need to know everything about those ships, their weapons, their intentions, and their capabilities." As her crew scrambled to gather intelligence, Rebecca found herself thinking about the choice that had been made 25 years ago. When humanity had first detected the galactic war, Earth's leaders had faced a terrible decision. They could announce their presence and risk being dragged into a conflict that had already consumed hundreds of worlds. Or they could remain hidden and hoped the war would pass them by. They had chosen to hide, but not to remain defenseless. The Solar Defense Force had been created in absolute secrecy, its existence known only to a handful of world leaders and military commanders. While publicly, Earth continued to launch primitive chemical rockets and broadcast radio signals secretly. Humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology and building weapons that could rival anything in the galaxy. The strategy had worked for 25 years, but now, with alien fleets approaching the solar system, that strategy was about to be tested. "Captain," Dr. Chen said, looking up from his analysis, "I'm detecting weapons signatures from both fleets. They're not just passing through, they're preparing for battle." Rebecca closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. In the next few hours, decisions would be made that would determine whether humanity continued to hide in the shadows or stepped onto the galactic stage. The war that had consumed the galaxy for 25 years was about to come to Earth. "All stations, prepare for emergency protocols," she announced. "This is not a drill. Contact all hidden installations throughout the solar system. Operation Darkwatch is now active." Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities began to stir. On the far side of the moon, massive hangar doors opened for the first time in decades. In the asteroid belt, mining ships that were actually disguised warships began shedding their camouflage. Near Jupiter, a space station that officially didn't exist began charging its weapons systems. Admiral Harrison's face appeared on the main screen, his weathered features grim with determination. "Captain Torres, I've reviewed the sensor data. This is what we've been preparing for. The question is, are we ready?" Rebecca looked around the observation deck at her crew, men and women who had spent their entire careers watching and waiting. They had studied every battle, learned from every mistake, and prepared for every possibility. Now, finally, it was time to discover if 25 years of preparation had been enough. "Sir," she said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment, "we're as ready as we'll ever be." The alien fleets continued their approach, unaware that they were being watched by sensors they couldn't detect, tracked by ships they couldn't see, and heading toward a world that was far more dangerous than they could possibly imagine. Earth had remained hidden for 25 years, but the time for hiding was about to end. The galaxy was about to discover that the quiet little world in the outer rim had been preparing for this moment all along. The reckoning begins. The first shots were fired at 0347 hours, Earth Standard Time, just beyond the orbit of Pluto. Captain Rebecca Torres watched from Lunar Station 7 as the battle unfolded on her screens. 20 alien warships engaging in a deadly dance that lit up the outer solar system with weapons fire. The Zelna Empire's massive battle cruisers, each the size of a small city, traded devastating blows with the Corvini Federation's sleek destroyers. What neither side realized was that every weapons discharge, every tactical maneuver, every communication was being recorded by humanity's hidden observation network. "Captain, we're getting interference from the battle," reported Lieutenant Johnson. The energy weapons are disrupting our outer sensor nets. Dr. Michael Chen looked up from his analysis station, his face pale. Rebecca, you need to see this. The Corvani are using their new subspace plasma weapons at full power. If they miss their targets, those beams could hit the inner planets. Rebecca felt ice forming in her stomach. A missed shot from a Corvani plasma cannon could sterilize Mars or devastate Earth's moon. The aliens were fighting their war with complete disregard for the solar system's inhabitants, just as they had done throughout the galaxy for 25 years. "Get me Admiral Harrison," she ordered. "Emergency priority." Admiral David Harrison's image appeared on the main screen within seconds. Behind him, Rebecca could see the controlled chaos of Earth Command's war room deep beneath the Colorado mountains. Officers moved with practiced efficiency, implementing plans that had been refined over 2 decades of preparation. "Captain, I've been monitoring the situation," Harrison said grimly. "Both fleets are now fully engaged. The Zelna have deployed gravity bombs, and the Corvani are charging their phase missiles. This battle is going to tear up the outer system." "Sir, we can't let them continue," Rebecca replied. "If their weapons miss, they could hit populated areas, the Mars colonies, the Jupiter mining stations, even Earth itself." Harrison was quiet for a long moment, and Rebecca could see the weight of command in his eyes. For 25 years, he had been the guardian of humanity's greatest secret. Now, he was about to make the decision that would change everything. "Captain Torres, prepare for Phase 1 revelation. Contact Commander Sarah Kim aboard the Defiant. It's time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Rebecca's heart pounded as she opened a secure channel to the asteroid belt. The EU's Defiant was humanity's most advanced warship, built in secret. Over the past decade, using technology reverse-engineered from alien wreckage and improved upon by human ingenuity. From the outside, it looked like a simple mining vessel. Inside, it carried weapons and defenses that would surprise even the most advanced galactic civilizations. "Commander Kim, this is Lunar Station 7. You are authorized for reveal." Repeat. "Authorized for reveal." Commander Sarah Kim's voice came through the channel, calm and professional despite the magnitude of the moment. "Lunar Station, this is Defiant. We copy. Beginning approach to the combat zone. All systems are green." Throughout the solar system, other hidden ships began to move. The deception that had protected Earth for 25 years was about to end, and humanity was about to announce its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. The Defiant shed its disguise as it approached the battle zone. Outer hull panels fell away, revealing sleek armor plating and weapon arrays that gleamed in the starlight. The ship's true form was unlike anything in the galactic database, smaller than most alien warships, but clearly advanced, with design elements that suggested a completely different approach to space combat. "Unknown vessel," came a transmission. "From the Zelna Fleet Commander. You are entering a combat zone. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Commander Kim's response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that both fleets would hear humanity's first official message to the galaxy. "This is Commander Sarah Kim of the United Earth ship Defiant. You are fighting in Earth's solar system without permission. Your weapons fire threatens our colonies and civilian populations. Cease hostilities immediately." The silence that followed was deafening. Rebecca could imagine the confusion aboard the alien ships as they processed this message. Earth wasn't supposed to have space-capable vessels. Earth wasn't supposed to have colonies. Earth wasn't supposed to exist as anything more than a primitive world on the galactic rim. The Corvini fleet commander was the first to respond, his voice carrying the typical arrogance of his species. Earth, our records show that system contains only a primitive species with basic technology. You cannot be from Earth. Your records are incomplete, Commander Kim replied. This is your final warning. Withdraw from our system, or we will be forced to take action. The Zelna commander laughed, a sound like grinding metal. One small ship against 20 battle cruisers. Your courage is admirable, but your judgment is flawed. Surrender now, and we may allow you to live. Rebecca watched the tactical display as both alien fleets began to turn their weapons toward the Defiant. The human ship was vastly outnumbered, but she knew that appearances could be deceiving. Commander Kim had trained for this moment for years, and the Defiant carried surprises that would shock the galaxy. Defiant, you are clear to engage, Admiral Harrison transmitted. Show them what we've learned. The battle that followed would be analyzed by military strategists for decades. The Defiant moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen, its engines producing thrust vectors that seemed to defy physics. Where alien ships relied on brute force and overwhelming firepower, the human vessel used precision and innovation. The Corvini fired their subspace plasma cannons, beams of pure energy that should have cut through the Defiant's hull like paper. Instead, the beams were deflected by shields that incorporated principles no galactic civilization had discovered. The energy was not just blocked, but absorbed and redirected, turning the aliens' own weapons against them. A Zelna battlecruiser launched a gravity bomb, a weapon that could collapse a ship's hull by manipulating space-time itself. The Defiant responded with a device that Dr. Chen had developed based on theoretical physics, a gravity nullifier that created a pocket of normal space-time around the ship, making it immune to gravitational weapons. But the most shocking moment came when the Defiant revealed its primary weapon. Instead of energy beams or missiles, it fired something that looked like a simple metal projectile. The Corvini commander actually laughed when he saw it approaching his ship. The laughter stopped when the projectile passed through his shields as if they weren't there, penetrated his hull without causing an explosion, and began broadcasting a message throughout his ship. This is a demonstration. Your weapons and shields are ineffective against our technology. Surrender now, or the next projectile will not be a messenger. The projectile was a masterpiece of human engineering, a quantum-phased penetrator that could pass through most forms of matter while remaining solid enough to deliver its payload. It was a weapon that said more about human ingenuity than any energy beam ever could. Within minutes, both alien fleets had ceased firing. The Defiant had disabled 3 ships and demonstrated that their most advanced weapons were useless against human technology. The balance of power in the solar system had shifted dramatically. This is impossible, the Zelna commander transmitted. How does a primitive species possess such advanced technology? Commander Kim's response was delivered with quiet confidence. We've been watching your war for 25 years. We've studied every battle, analyzed every weapon, learned from every tactic. Did you think we learned nothing? The implications hit both fleets simultaneously. If Earth had been observing the galactic war, they knew the strengths and weaknesses of every major military force. If they had been developing countermeasures to alien technology, they might be more advanced than anyone had imagined. Ambassador Alina Rodriguez's voice came through on diplomatic channels, her tone professional but firm. I am Ambassador Elena Rodriguez, representing the United Nations of Earth. We are prepared to negotiate a peaceful resolution to this incident, but only if both fleets withdraw to a safe distance from our colonies. The next few hours saw the most intensive diplomatic activity in human history. Both the Zelna Empire and the Corvani Federation had to completely revise their understanding of the galactic balance of power. Earth wasn't just another primitive world, it was a technological powerhouse that had been hiding its capabilities for decades. General Jiang Wei coordinated the solar system's defenses as more alien ships arrived, drawn by reports of the impossible battle. Dr. James Patterson's weapons development teams worked around the clock to prepare for whatever might come next. And throughout it all, humanity maintained the position that had served them well for 25 years. They wanted peace, but they were prepared for war. The galaxy would never be the same. The quiet little world on the outer rim had revealed itself to be one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. The war that had consumed hundreds of worlds for 25 years had finally met its match, and that match was humanity. Earth had stayed out of the galactic war, but when the war came to Earth, everything changed. The age of human isolation was over, and the age of human influence had begun. Asterisk.